I want to bring in Andrew Cherkasky now. He's a criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor. Andrew, she still has to go back to court. There's that felony escape business, you know, her running off in the Benny Hill videos. So that's still to come. But in the interim, tomorrow is the sentencing. And I need you as a lawyer to tell me how important it is that Kaitlin took a gun and pointed it at Mo Wilson's face and shot twice into her face, and then for good measure finished her off while she was on the ground through the heart. What does that do in terms of the jury and the metric they'll use to reach a sentence for her?
Well, we have to appreciate that that the jury sees her as a murderer. And so it's how bad of a murderer, I guess, that they ultimately have to conclude here. And as much as I think shooting her in the face is something that is remarkably aggravating, I think that also very aggravating is the fact that she was seen scoping out the house ahead of time. I mean, this is the evidence of a premeditation. This is somebody who is thinking about doing it. It's not just a heat of passion type of case. And so that's what I think is really going to resonate with them, is that there was forethought to this. That's what will get her what I think is going to be the maximum penalty.
Because I always think about how heinous, atrocious, and cruel and depraved certain kinds of killings are. And when it comes to facing down a woman and shooting her in the face, and she's trying to block that shot with her hand, that to me is something the jurors aren't going to forget. They had to look at those pictures of Moriah's face.
Well, when we saw a verdict of 2 hours, I think that it communicated very strongly that this jury is remarkably set on condemning her and the conduct that occurred here. So I think the sentence is going to reflect that. The defense is doing their best to put on some sort of mitigation case to show that this is a real person who has some sort of redeeming qualities. But when you act like that, I don't think a member on that jury panel is going to think anything other than giving her the max.
So you're her lawyer for a second, and the judge says, Ms. Armstrong, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Would you like to testify in this sentencing hearing? And she says no. I'm wondering, could she have done anything to shave some time off of what the jurors are going to decide? Or would she have basically put her foot in the grave, because there's no shot at an appeal if you express remorse or take, you know, responsibility for your actions on the record?
Well, I think a question like that, you have to go all the way back to the beginning of this case and how it's played out. I mean, if at the very beginning of this case she had admitted guilt or tried to formulate some sort of deal that suggested that she was acting in the heat of passion, that tried to justify what she had done with some degree of mitigation, not even if it's a total defense to the case, I think she could have looked at perhaps less than the rest of her life in jail or some degree of chance of probation. But when you've gotten this far in it, and you've continued to fight and you put on that defense, what do you get up and say in the sentencing? You admit to your guilt at that point. That's certainly not going to do anything for you with your outside hope that you might have an appeal. And so the other side is you just kind of sit quietly by and let them do their thing and hope that there's some chance of an appeal down the road. I think her chance at something mitigated was gone before this trial ever started.
And throughout the entire trial, the stoic face without a tear shed, that sort of thing doesn't help either if all of a sudden the crocodile tears show up at the sentencing hearing. Right. Andrew Cherkasky, as always, thank you for your wisdom. Appreciate your time, too.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.